right, everybody, hi there. I'm Jamie Carroll. I'm doing this video regarding the LAUSD Acceptable Use Policy. On top of that, you should notice that it's no longer called Acceptable Use Policy. The district changed that at some point to Responsible Use Policy, but it's the same concept. So I'm going to go through this fairly quickly. Okay, purpose. Following the RUP will keep you and others safe. We all need to follow federal and state laws about online use. Very important, and we do teach it in school. And there's actually, during one particular week, Digital Citizenship Week, we introduce certain concepts each day to the kids for a week. Okay, what is a user? Anyone using computers, the internet, email, and all other forms of electronic communication provided by district networks or equipment, regardless of location, is a user. Okay, so pretty much anybody on a computer becomes a user. Simple concept. Okay, what do we mean by privacy? How is that defined? Okay, users do not have privacy. The district can and will monitor your online activities. The district can copy, store, share this information with adults as necessary. This includes email. So the advice is anything of a personal nature, wait till you get home. Don't mess with it while you're at school, okay? I am responsible for practicing positive digital citizenship, which is something each student and employee actually would say. Practice positive digital citizenship, appropriate behavior and contributions on websites, social media, discussion boards, media sharing sites, and all other communications. Be honest. What you do online may not disrupt school activities or compromise school safety and security. So sometimes in the classroom, when we hand out Chromebooks, there's sometimes a few students make a bad choice and access information that they shouldn't be accessing, or something inappropriate that maybe got through the filter, and they end up using their Chromebook privileges for a while. So we don't want that to happen. Okay, in addition, here's a discussion topic. What are some popular online behaviors that do not follow positive digital citizenship? What could you do instead? And of course, we have this little memorization technique, but bottom line, as I just said, you've got to be responsible when you're dealing with technology, especially when you're a student. And here's some other very good tips on this subject. I'm responsible for keeping personal information private. Do not share personal information about yourself or others. Do not meet someone that you have only met on the internet. Check privacy settings on websites that you visit. Follow all laws, the RUP, and district security policies. And probably the most important thing there is never ever go and meet someone who you've only interacted with online. And certain kids have made that mistake. Others have made that mistake and paid the price. They've done actually TV shows about that. So you have to be very, very careful when dealing with the internet in any kind of social way. Okay, I'm responsible for keeping personal information private. What could happen if you share personal information? Well, here's some hints. Who has my information? Where's my bill? I didn't buy that. So basically, they're getting into what's called identity theft can happen, among many other bad things. Okay, I'm responsible for my passwords and my actions on district accounts. So you don't share district or school usernames or passwords with anyone. You don't access someone else's account. You log out of accounts when work is complete. Log others out if you see that they have forgotten. And a lot of us make that mistake. We may close the browser, but we forget to log out. So if someone else goes into that site, they may very well have access. So you have to remember to log out first. Okay, what could happen if you share usernames and passwords? For your email, Edmodo, Ngrade. Bottom line, we already know. Identity theft, among other things. So I'm responsible for my verbal, written, and artistic expression. Use school-appropriate language in all of your electronic communications. If you're not sure about the language, ask yourself if you would say it in front of a grandmother. That's probably a good test. Unfortunately, a lot of kids would probably fail that test. I'm responsible for treating others with respect and dignity. Do not send or post hateful, discriminatory, or harassing digital communications. Do not engage in that. Any bullying, including cyberbullying, is unacceptable. All right? And if there were really kids here, I would have edited that out. But fortunately, there aren't any real kids here. So. I'm responsible for treating others with respect and dignity. Do you feel cyberbullying is a problem? If so, why do kids do it? Okay, I'm responsible for accessing only educational content when using district technology. No material. Okay, it looks like I got interrupted for a second, so I wanted to finish this slide. It says, I am responsible for accessing only educational content when using district technology. No material that is hate speech, sexually explicit, or violent. Exceptions must be approved by the teacher or administrator as part of the assignment. No illegal, political, or commercial purposes. So you always want to keep those things in mind when you're on the computer or other technology. If you can't see it or do it during the school day, then you can't see it or do it online, which is a good point. The rules that apply to physically being here on campus and what you can view, what you can say, kinds of interactions that you can have, keep all that in mind when you are online as well. All right, I am responsible for respecting and maintaining the security of district electronic resources and networks. Do not try to get past the firewall. Do not use proxy servers. Do not use or install illegal software or apps. When they talk about proxy servers, they talk about basically trying to log into some other server to then go somewhere else online. And that's a way to kind of mask what you're doing, but you don't want to do that in school. Do not use or install illegal software or apps. Do not access a personal data plan using the district network. And obviously, no hacking, especially major studios or major campaigns of any kind. All right, I am responsible for taking all reasonable care when handling district equipment. Report any known or suspected acts of vandalism. Respect your and others' use and access to district equipment. And we have had some issues with equipment being vandalized, not very often at the school, but it does happen. So please be vigilant about how your equipment is being handled, or if you see anybody abusing equipment, you should let the office know or the teacher know. What are some things you've seen with this school equipment? Why is vandalism of school equipment a problem? Okay, I think those are pretty easy questions to answer. All right, I'm responsible for respecting the work of others. This is really important. Follow copyright and fair use policies. A copyright means that whoever writes something, they have the rights to it. You can't just come along and copy it, all right? Do not copy someone else's work and present it as your own. Cite your sources. Do not download illegally obtained music, software, apps, and other works, okay? And it doesn't say it in this particular slide, but when you copy someone else's work and present it as your own, it is called plagiarism, okay? You don't want that. I just wanted to add one little comment on what is the rationale for having filters at a school site for the computer system. And the main reason for having a filtering system where certain sites are not accessible to students or to teachers is to keep everybody safe. As educators, we don't want students to accidentally or on purpose access inappropriate material. If that happens, you get in trouble, we get in trouble. It's a bad situation. Same thing for a teacher, okay? And in a nutshell, that's why it's important that we have these filters in place by the district. Now, there is a way to unblock certain sites. It's a process and form you have to go through in a submission process, but I'm not going to go into detail on that. But I did just briefly want to discuss the reason for having that filtering process. It's for basically everyone's protection, okay? Looks like we got cut off there, so I'm just going to go ahead and do a little closing to the video so it doesn't end the way it did. But very important, this last slide, if you do not follow the responsible use policy, what can happen? Well, you may get restricted access or no access at all. Like I've said, there are kids who have lost their Chromebook privileges, or sometimes their privileges to even use any of the computers in the library. You may have disciplinary or legal action against you, especially if you're doing any illegal downloading. Definitely not good. So basically, that's pretty much the whole presentation. Hopefully that was informative and gave everybody an idea about how important the acceptable use policy is, or responsible use policy as it's now called, and you really need to pay attention to that. All right, thank you very much.